Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the next episode of my Forever World. But today, I'm going to show you the greatest storage system I've ever built, complete with two separate kinds of multi-item sorting, with the classic minecarts and, of course, the copper golems. We have separate systems for farm inputs and non-farm inputs, complete with all the shulker loaders that you can imagine. And of course, last but not least, a 40 furnace smelting array. And I'm going to show you all of that and how it works today. There are two separate inputs to the storage system, and let's follow an item as it goes through the first one, which is the normal way that you would put items in. Let's say, for example, I just came back with a bunch of redstone stuff, right? What I do is I throw him into this pit here. What this does is it triggers these tripwire hooks and it turns on these minecarts. These minecarts would then throw the items into this water stream, and the items would go into this silo. Now that they're in the silo, the reason why the silo exists is so that if I put a massive amount of items like inside, if I put a lot of items in here, it'll still work as like intended, where no items will despawn or anything. The annoying clicking is so this thing would sort out the unstackables and the shulkers and all that stuff. Here is where the items normally go. They go up here, and then they start the cycle with the with the normal sorting. They first go through the area where loose farm items, like these mushrooms here, would come through. And these farm items, obviously, you know, they go into a shulker loader themselves and they go into the system. And then they move on to this section where it's just full shulker boxes of farmed stuff. Like, for example, these frog lights. They'll move through here and then move across this corner into the section of non-farm stuff, but there's still mass amounts of them, so I still need shulker boxes. As you can tell, the redstone for this one is the most simple. And then, following this bit of redstone, the reason why it's doing this is because all of this is at hopper speed, so it doesn't overwhelm the system. And then it moves down here to another silo, where this multi-item sorter now kicks in. Essentially how it works, I'm going to be putting links into the into all the things that I use for this, is that it detects which slice, in this case it would be the redstone slice here, that the things need to go into, it puts it in, and then it's done. Now, in the case that it can't find a slice that it fits into here, it moves on to the final part of the storage system, the copper golem sorting. For example, these heads, the potions and ominous banners, or the filled maps. That would go with the copper golems. I realize it'd be easier to show you guys the rest of this in a creative world, so we're in my creative world now. This here, I didn't connect it up yet, even in the regular world, is the farm inputs. So all of the farms in my world, we're gonna have like a really big water system where it just shoots it up and then shoots it into here. Now what this does is it sorts out the regular items from the shulkers. The regular items will go this way into there, and then the shulkers full of items will go into here. This is a raisework system where it's essentially sorts shulker boxes. It sorts shulker boxes, right? But the thing is, when he made the system didn't combine the shulker boxes and the items back together, and it does here. And eventually all of this just leads into it being collected right here. And I'll do an example. The game's currently frozen, and I'm going to show you how this works. So these are full boxes of shulker shells, right? And if we tick step, I think 8, it moves one of them to this hopper here. And then we tick step 8 again, that would move it. Where did it move it? is gone. Is gone forever. Anyway, it's probably in here now. Is it in here now? I don't know where it went. Oh god. Oh no, it's here. Okay. We tick step 8 again because a hopper takes 8 ticks to move one item. And the thing, the shulker box is now in here. This detects it. And then it turns this on. It's a clock, right? And this system here hard powers this dropper, which means this dropper activates, and this dropper would also activate, meaning that if it's a shulker, if it's not a shulker box, the item can actually jump right into the shulker box and then gets dispensed out here. But if it is a shulker box, then it would get stuck in this dropper since it can't go into here, and it would move down to here. And we see that right now. Nope. Right, okay, because that observer needs 2 ticks right now. Yeah. That observer needed 2 ticks to move. And so therefore, 2 ticks, 2 ticks, 2 ticks, right? And now it's now in here. If we tick step a bunch more, the shulker box went up there, and then in here. At this point, the system realizes that there is a shulker box in there, and it shoots one out and then breaks it. When it shoots one out, the shulker box will end up here, and the item will end up here. These two will now move in parallel with each other to each of the individual slices. For example, with shulker shells, let's say it's here, right? If we tick step 8 at this point, you will see that the shulker shell itself is now 2 away from the slice that it needs to go in, and so is the shulker box, right? We go one more time, it's now in here. We go one more time, and it's now not in there because it's down here, which means it's now also down here. Now, these items are technically stuck in the system. The reason why they are stuck in the system is because this shulker shell and this shulker box here, they're stuck in the system because that's really how impulse item sorters work. This is an impulse item sorter that's with a redstone torch in the back. And so you can't really do anything about this. But the second one that comes through, right about now, you can see exactly when it comes through, right? What will happen is that the shulker box will now, the shulker shell will flow through here, and then the shulker box will flow through here. What happens here, this is the system I designed myself, is that the shulker shell, right? The shulker box is dispensed, and on exact same frame, the shulker shell went back into the shulker box, and then this piston destroyed it, right? Afterwards, this redstone turns off, hopper gets collected, and then it gets shot down here. And you can see it happening multiple times, right? And at the end, you will see there's 3 shulker boxes full of shulker shells. That's honestly the most complicated part of the entire system. Another thing that I want to show off is the multi-item sorter system by Mazuma Games. Of course, I will link everything that I used here in the description. Where essentially how it works is the items, we'll look at it by the items, right? We'll follow the items along. The items would end up here. This will then send a signal through this comparator powering this, what is it called? This powered rail, and then the minecart will sit here and it'll take all the items out. It will then shoot through the bottom, and I'll explain why that is there in a bit. And it'll go through the bottom of all of these chests, and then it'll detect one. Let's say this is the item that it wants. It'll suck out that item, right? This redstone dust will turn on, and then this hopper will unlock. This is essentially like a fast bypass system where it changes the rail so that the minecart can come back, so it doesn't need to go around the entire thing. And when it comes back, it's gonna put the item back into the chest, locking this hopper. But when that happens, because the item goes through here, they'll turn on this dropper, and then which unlocks this hopper. The minecart will then end here. All of the items will get sucked out and then only enter the slice that's been unlocked. And then the items are done. What the minecart now does is that you can see here, there is a unstackable item filter right here. This is a very smart unstackable item filter, because if it's regular items or 16 stackable, it'll just go through. If it's an unstackable item, this comparator will have 2 power, and which will then unlock this, which will then depower this comparator, unlocking this hopper, right? And then it'll suck out the non-stackable item and then move it down to here. And the reason why this exists here is because we want the hopper minecart to always have this configuration, so it only takes out the first item, right? And with these hoppers and droppers and that kind of stuff down here, it makes sure that this minecart only has this amount, like this what's it called? This minecart always only has the first slot open. Now, this whole extra system here, they're kind of separate systems. Like this system is kind of separate to everything else. The reason why this is here is if you'd imagine that you have a stack of stone bricks and you want to sort stone bricks, the chest needs to pull out one item from the stone bricks, right? But if that stack is full, how's it going to do that? That's how, with this system, that's how it's going to do that. So this system here, it detects if the minecart it's completely full. If it's 64 items, it will then unlock this hopper, taking out one item from the minecart. It'll then shoot it up here and then end up here, where when the minecart comes back, it'll put the item back into the minecart, then making the system work again. It's honestly a really, really smart system, and I've used this storage system for frankly a really, really long time now. So one last thing I want to show all of you is the Shulker Unloader that I have in this storage system. It is I found it in one of Rapscallion's videos that I will link down below. He says from a guy named Christone, and how it works is I'll dump all of these shulker boxes in here, right? And we can see what happens down here, where the same thing happens as before. The minecart gets here, and then this sorts it out, and you can see that the minecarts pull items out at an incredibly fast speed, right? And then all of the items get spat out into here, and then back into the silo in here, essentially, as you can see. Obviously, usually not this many items go at once, but yeah, you can see how fast this Shulker Unloader is. We're back in survival now, and the inspiration for this build is Odiame Castle. Yes, I'm gonna flash an image up now of the castle. I've never visited the castle itself, but I was looking up castles that take inspiration from, and this one looked really cool. So yeah, that's where the inspiration is from. And of course, I'm gonna link their website down below as well. I wasn't recording at a time, and I accidentally shot a crossbow, so I did get Old Betsy, the achievement. And so now that we're done with that, the features, here's some updates on the rest of the world. So I haven't needed to make another map yet, but the time is approaching since we are approaching the June. Yeah, June 3rd. We're approaching June 3rd. I put the pumpkin patch back because I needed pumpkins for copper golems. I had a lot more copper golems. I killed all of them though. What else is there? Not much, honestly. I started the process of clearing the what's it called? Of making the of greenification of the mushroom island. I gotta be thinking, Carter, what's the point of this? Like, this line don't do anything. Well, I'm gonna make the entire what's it called? I'm gonna make the entire mushroom island a grid, and then I can just do the grids one by one instead of like what's it called? Instead of like doing the entire thing at once, which would be very stressful. And so like with the grid system, I can stop at any time I want. But yeah, I think I did chop down a few more mushrooms as well, and so that's pretty cool. And yeah, the next episode is probably gonna be an achievement hunting one because frankly, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's probably gonna be an achievement hunting one because it's gonna be like finishing the storage system was a really big thing within the within this world, and this is like one of the main goals of the world was to have this functional storage system. And so the videos are probably gonna slow down like even more now, since my only goal now is to get achievements and stuff. Yeah. Well, I guess also make the world the world look nice, but I don't know how to build, and so it's gonna be hard for me to make a video and build at the same time. And also the rest of the making a world look good would be like, for example, chopping the mushrooms and making the world green, like the island green, which is like, that's gonna be a very boring process that nobody really wants to watch. So yeah. Anyway, I think for now, this is I haven't made a video in like 2 weeks now. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.